You spent all week mapping. You've got the dungeon floors inked, the treasures placed, the secret doors hidden, and you've even practiced a few distinct voices for the local shopkeepers. Come on, we've all been there. You're ready. But the second your players walk into the room, it feels stagnant. It feels like a video game where the NPCs are just waiting for a dialogue prompt. They ask the merchant about a quest, and you read the prepared text. They meet the Baron, and you know exactly how the meeting will go because you've decided way back last Tuesday that the Baron is stuffy and suspicious. You want a living world. You want a campaign where things actually happen, regardless of what the players do. Well, if you want that, then you need to put down the script, stop deciding how your NPCs feel, and pick up two six-sided dice. Today we're talking about the reaction roll, but not as a combat mechanic, which you use every 3 rooms whenever. No, we're not doing that. We're using it as the literal beating heart of your sandbox. This is the secret to a world that breathes on its own. And listen, let's be blunt, because the modern RPG landscape is littered with bad advice on this front. The the experts will tell you that to create an immersive world, you need to predetermine every NPC's motivation, their tragic backstory, and their immediate mood towards the party before the session even starts. You are encouraged to write down at the local blacksmith. We'll give him a discount because he likes adventurers. While at the orcs in room 4 hate humans on sight. This is a trap. And it's a trap that leads straight to referee burnout. When you predetermine an NPC's mood, you aren't playing a game anymore. You're writing a novel. And if you're writing a novel, the players are just secondary characters in your story. In BX, we use the reaction roll because we want to be surprised. If you know the Duke is going to be hostile, then there is zero game present in that interaction. There is zero unpredictability. You're just a narrator waiting for the players to trigger your pre-written hostility so you can deliver your lines. That isn't a living world. That's theater. In the OSR, we want a world that exists outside of our own biases. Think about it. We want a world that can tell us something that we didn't know. And that starts with admitting that as referees, we don't always know how a creature or an NPC feels until the dice hit the table. Now, we'll look at the actual BX table. I'll include this as a pinned comment, but it's in the BX rules, it's in the OSE rules. It's 2d6. It's simple, it's elegant, and it's deeper than anyone would expect. On a roll of 2, immediate hostility. They don't want to talk. They want you gone. They want you dead. Negotiations aren't going to help. On a 3 to 5, they're unfriendly. They're looking for an excuse to draw steel. On a 6 to 8, they're uncertain. This is the sweet spot, and I'll tell you why. 9 to 11, they are indifferent to friendly. They may share a rumor or a favor or a price. On 12, they are enthusiastic and helpful. Now, the mistake I see frequently is treating that 6 to 8 result as nothing. Refs roll a 7 and they go, they're just standing there. I guess nothing happens. Wrong. A 7 means the situation is it's a powder keg. I was about to say counter keg. Here we go. It's a standoff. It's that moment in a classic Western where the two gunslingers are just staring at each other, waiting for someone to blink. This is where the players have to actually roleplay. You don't need a 20-page social combat system with influence points and diplomacy skills and whatever other crap. You just need to know that goblins are uncertain in this case. So maybe a well-placed bribe or some, I don't know, dried meat tips or rations will tip them to a 9. Maybe the fighter makes a threatening gesture and drops them to a 4. This is a dynamic live system that responds to player input in real time. You didn't have to script a dialogue tree. You just provided the starting point, the Oracle's initial mood. Let the players take it from there. It's honest. It's fair. And this is where we go from encounter mechanic to world building engine. You need to take that 2d6 table and apply it to the entire political landscape of your sandbox. What? Trust me. Think about this. When the players clear out a dungeon or kill a notorious bandit lord, the world shouldn't just reset, but you also shouldn't have to spend 3 hours deciding how every townsperson feels about what just happened. Instead, roll for the faction. Roll for the Merchants Guild. Result of 3, they're pissed. Now you have to ask yourself, why? Well, maybe those bandits were actually the guild's best customers for black market spices. Or maybe the lack of bandits means the local lord is going to raise the road toll. Not the path is safe. Roll for the church. At 12, they see the PCs as literal messengers of the god. Suddenly, the players are getting free healing. They're asked to lead the next processional. Think about it. You see what happened here? Without a single minute of prep, you just created a complex, shifting political ecosystem. You didn't invent the greedy merchant who hates adventurers. The dice told you the Merchants Guild is hostile. And now you, as the ref, you get to justify it. See, this is emergent play. It makes the world feel massive because things are happening off camera that the referee didn't even plan. And I've said it dozens of times. I should say it more often, honestly, because this is an important part. The referee should be having as much fun as the players. I'm going to repeat that. The referee should be having as much fun as the players. If you know exactly what's going to happen because you've pre-scripted every conversation, you're just a manager. You're an administrator of your own imagination, doling it out in bits and pieces. When you trust the 2d6 procedure, you become a player in your own game. You're discovering the world alongside your group. There is a specific kind of thrill that comes when you roll a 12 for a group of ravenous ghouls. And you're sitting there thinking, oh, God, wait, why are these undead monsters being friendly? And then it hits you. Right? Maybe they're cursed. And they retain a shred of their former humanity. Maybe they're so terrified of something deeper in the crypt that they see the PCs as their only way out. That mental scramble, that moment where you have to connect the dots of a random result, is where the best lore is born. It's better than anything you'll ever write in a notebook at 2 a.m. It keeps you sharp. It keeps the game from becoming prepared or prepped. And most importantly, it keeps the world honest. It shouldn't be a set piece. And it's not about you being a mean DM or a nice DM. It's about the world being alive. Just being the world. The 2d6 reaction roll isn't just a rule in a book from 1981. It's a philosophy of play. It's the admission that the world is bigger than a referee's ego. If you start using it as your primary world building tool, you'll find the plot of your campaign starts writing itself. You'll find yourself prepping less and playing more. A massive thank you to the 270 some odd minions and Tavern members. Your support, honestly, is the reason I can keep the ale flowing and the lights on in this place. If you're finding value in these old school procedures, consider joining the community. Hit the subscribe button. Check out the affiliate links in the description. Now, God bless. Get out of here. Pick up those dice. And let the world surprise you for once. You never know what's in store.